I think we need a Triceratops. But where are we going to put a Triceratops? Welcome back everybody to another episode of my Minecraft Dinosaur series, and today we're going to set up for some horrible three-horned faces. Now for most of you, this may have been your favorite as a kid. Or it still is today. Or you were still a kid and watching my Minecraft video. That's fine too. So let's put the metaphorical stove on and get some dinosaurs brewed up from their DNA. Okie dokie, and with that happening in the background, it's time to talk enclosures. Now we have this lovely spot next to the castle keep I've been looking at for a while, and I figured if Triceratops is close to many of our hearts, it should also be close to our park centre, so we can see it more often. So I'm going to convert this dipped terrain into a lovely enclosure. Firstly, let's put up some walls. Alrighty, we have the walls all done. Look at this beauty. This really feels like an exhibit. Now the first Dilophosaurus enclosure is fun. It's bite-sized. This thing, it feels like a theme park now. Feels really good. But this view of the inside needs some work. So let's have a chat, put up some stone walls, and make this thing fancy. Alright, so if we're going to naturalize a stone wall, there's two important things we need to do. Shape is fundamentally the most important thing that makes objects interesting, beautiful to look at. If it's a completely flat wall like the one we're looking at here, it's boring. And that's boring. And that's boring. But if we give it some variety, all of a sudden our eyes have curves to follow, interesting objects to look at, focal points. Secondly, we need to introduce texture, so that it's not all the blank one wall, and eventually we will texture the castle. That's in an upcoming video, which you can look forward to. I'm very keen to get into that. But starting off simple, we want to mix in blocks that are very similar. They're not going to be too busy. A very popular one everybody likes to use and talk about is andesite. We mix in some andesite here. Already, if we look at our wall, it doesn't matter where we're looking now, our eyes are drawn down here. They're drawn to the andesite because it's a bit natural. So the process of texturing. Some people look at this and they get very scared. How do I texture? How do I make things look good? Easiest thing to do is trial and error. For example, I'm not happy with that piece we've just put in there, right? It looks wrong. Your eyes, you just need to trust them sometimes. Perhaps, for example, in here what we actually need is even finer tune of depth and shape. Give us something like that. Now we've got a bit more depth, and now looking at that, my eyes instantly want to make something with a bit more depth here. Nice and easy. Maybe we put one here, like so. Adding a bit of depth, although now we have a revealed. Now we've got a corner. Why, jeez! Well, that was unexpected. Crikey. Well, I better patch that hole then. Jeez. If anyone couldn't tell, I am recording this late at night. Now, if we take a step back and look at our wall, which half do your eyes prefer? The left or the right? Definitely the left. It's very boring on the right. Let's go update this. Alrighty, so I got the last bit of the landscaping done on the back wall. So this is looking pretty good. And I also made a start on the terraforming for the inside of the enclosure. So we've got basically a little pond or river basin here. It feeds in from this little waterfall. We'll fill in here. And then I've just surrounded it with some of our large 2x2 oak trees, the custom ones we were doing for the Dilophosaurus. I'll probably put a few more in here. And then this will look pretty good. So I guess I'll quickly get through that, and then we can get on to our next major landmark going into the enclosure. So I had a realization as I was doing this landscaping that the trees actually need to wait, because we don't know what they're going to block out until we've made our viewing platforms. I have popped in 2 little windows that I think will make 2 good viewing spots, but before we get to that, we have something else to do. To make this a bit more realistic, I want to take a page out of the Prehistoric Kingdom book. These dinosaurs should be treated like animals, and animals get, well, shelters from hard weather. Rain, sunshine, storms. So our poor Triceratops are going to be needing the same thing. So in this back corner, I'm going to build a bit of a barn for these guys. I've done a quick mock-up in a testing world, but I'll see how it goes here, and I guess I'll report back. All right, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this... stuck under the sail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this 3 levels, I think, is going to be the best way to make this look right in the space we're working with. So that firstly involves making this layer 1 wider. And then I think we can afford to go down 1. I think if we go down here now, we'll be okay. I think this will work. Let's fill in this last layer and have a look. Alrighty, now some finishing touches underneath here. We probably should convert the grass into coarse dirt, or something that's not going to be green grass, because in this shaded area, it's also going to be high foot traffic. It's not going to really promote a lot of grass growth. So we can maybe take out just maybe a couple of chunks even. Make it look like the animals have got preferred spots in here. Alrighty, that's looking good now. We've got some shelter for our Triceratops, which is brilliant. It's going to really add a lot of realism to this enclosure. Fills it in this back corner. It's a nice little way to really encourage this as a hideaway space, basically. But we do have one job to do now. We do not want to allow this. So we need to clear off a bit of this mountain. Alrighty, and that should fix that now. There's no way the Triceratops are getting up and out of here. And they're too big to make a jump like this. They're huge. They're Pulchosauruses. And so, now this leads us on to the next and probably final bit of the enclosure. Except for, obviously, the tree decoration. Is our 2 viewing windows or platforms. Now, I'll go around and show you this from the other side. Because it looks like it's very far up, but this is actually level with the path on the other side of the wall. I'll also show you quickly what I've been working on, is I have put in one of the fancy flush piston doors that we have over on the Dilophosaurus enclosure. Oh, that's a little bit tight. So he works nicely. And then I've also just concealed the entrance a little bit, which I think I want to do a bit more on the Dilophosaurus. You can't, look, it looks a bit more like a garden now. You can't really see, and this isn't final. This will be something that over time, as more of the park gets filled in, we'll be able to get our gardens sorted out nicer. With a couple of details like this here, for example, this will just be a little signpost telling you all the exhibits you can find down this north part of the park. So, for example, we can go Triceratops in this. Oh, if my scroll wheel is going to work. Triceratops, ding ding, down this way. So here are those 2 windows you can see. So you can see this first one here. It's probably a pretty good level to have a look at this upper plane section. I think I've fallen into the trap I've done before. I don't know if I've already said this in this video. It's been going for a while of making this one. But I think this is too deep. I think if I could redo this, these back walls probably be brought forward by probably 10, maybe even 15 blocks. And same as on that side. I'd probably have that back wall actually be level with this one, and then this one be brought forward more. But that's something for the future. I mean, that's fine. We can learn from this. This exhibit can just be an enormous one. It's fine. It looks good overhead anyway, having the big one here next to the park keep. And then a little bit further down the road here, because we'll probably have another exhibit down this side here. We've then got this other viewing window, and you can see this is quite a nice view from this one here. We have a view into the actual shelter now, which is nice. So you can see this is definitely the preferred angle to view this exhibit from. But you can see why we wanted to wait to do those trees, because we don't know how that's going to block out all of our beautiful work in the back of this enclosure. So, as it turns out, let me show you in my testing world what we're going to be working for on these viewing galleries. Right, so here in the testing world, this is the viewing platform idea I've had. Excuse the other dinosaurs. This is something I think I'll have on multiple exhibits, so I've just put some on the other side for a sense of scale to see how big they're going to be. Here is our Triceratops right here. It is a really nice size, actually, with the viewing platform if it was on the level ground. But it's going to be about 10 blocks up off the Earth. But if you've seen Jurassic World Evolution gameplay or Jurassic World Evolution 2, this is very much inspired by the viewing galleries in that game. And I really like the style. I think it's going to fit the park quite nicely. It's a nice organic shape. I've done a bit of a play on it, but the two different viewing platforms are inside. So we'll be basically replicating this along our path. So we've got this lower viewing level, and then upstairs we've got this upper viewing platform, which is quite nice as well. So a lot of the dinosaurs this is going to work really well on. So I suppose now we just need to try and recreate this in the main dinosaur world. All right, I got a couple of screenshots loaded up on my second monitor. Let's see if we can recreate the shelter in the world, and then it should be easy to copy across from here. Alrighty, and just like that, we have got the first viewing gallery installed. It's looking pretty good. I'm a big fan of it in the actual world. So we go through, I've replaced the glass inside with a clear glass from Fossils and Archaeology. Actually, it's reinforced. It's reinforced glass is what it's called. This stuff here. So, but another quartz and sand came up nice and easy. So yeah, this is the bottom viewing angle we've got off this right side of the enclosure. We F1 to hide away the hitbox. I think it looks pretty good. We've got heaps of view range to see into the enclosure. And then we can come up for a higher angle. I think it's very nice. We've got a safety rail here so that nobody falls in and hurt themselves. And I think it's looking pretty good. And from the other side, if we bust through and have a look, oh man, it looks It looks really great. I'm very happy with this. The other one's obviously going to go here. But from the inside of the enclosure, this is sort of what we're looking at. I may do a couple of little tweaks of this so that it's not so heavy on the timber. It needs a bit more details, I think. But I'm still pretty happy with it. It looks really good, I think. And looking at it from a top-down view, I think it looks amazing. It does really fill out the enclosure, and it also does make it look like we didn't go too deep in the end. I think it's worked out. Wow. Squid City down there. So I think it looks great. It's really coming together. So I'll quickly pop in the second viewing gallery, and then we can get into the final couple of things for the episode. Alrighty, and just like that, we have 2 functional viewing galleries, and they're looking very, very schmick, if I do say so myself. So on the lower floor, this is our view. It's very nice. We do need to do the landscaping still. And then on our upper floor, this is what we're looking at. I'm a fan. This thing's punchy. So we're reaching the end of the episode, which means it's time to make some dinosaurs. Alrighty, so we should have 1, 2, 3 Triceratops. Alrighty, baby Triceratops. Baby Triceratops. Baby Triceratops. 3-horner. Clone a Triceratops. So I realized in editing that even though we haven't finished the landscaping, if we did do that today, we wouldn't have any reason to ever come back here. Not really, apart from just seeing the dinosaurs. So today we're going to do dinosaurs, and in the future we're going to come back, finish up the enclosure, and I think that's a good way to keep everything fresh. We can return to projects that way. All right, little Triceratops, I might do you... Let's spread you out. We don't want anybody getting stuck. So there we go. 3 baby Triceratops. Look at that. Look at that. We have 3 baby Triceratops. Totally not waiting for a thumbnail. So I think one of my favorite little facts about Triceratops is that we have evidence of Triceratops having feathers or proto-feathers. So on the rump of the animal, we have found some fossilized skin and some slight indentation in the bone, which suggests an anchor point for a feather-like structure. So it's believed that at least down the back of Triceratops, there may not have been fluffy feathers, but if you've owned a bird or know of birds, when they grow feathers, it comes out as a sharp quill, and then it eventually unfurls. But it's believed Triceratops maybe just had the quill, the proto-feather, which is really interesting as a predecessor to modern birds. So I'm excited to see if these Triceratops have the proto-feathers. But that's your fun fact for the dinosaur of the day. Oh, and we've got some babies hatching. Oh, we've got some babies hatching. It's happening. It's happening. It's happening. Oh my god. Oh my god. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. They're eating everything. Guys. Hello. You're so cute. How are you eating all of this grass? Please don't tear apart my enclosure I've been working on. You're cute. I feel like I could scoop you up in a little bucket. You're totally bucket worthy. It had a drink of the water. Did you hear it slurp? That's amazing. Okay. Well, I don't know how to feel about them eating all of the lawn. That's not ideal. Yes, that Jurassic Park Lost World Triceratops sound when they flip over the Jeep. Wonderful. So we have a Triceratops. We have 3 Triceratops now roaming the park. Look at this one all the way over here. Man, you were making full use of this enclosure. It is a good thing these things have walls, because if you were to just put these in your world, they would disappear and you would not find them until they were enormous. All right, I'm guessing they were hungry because they're not eating anything else now. But the Dilophosaurus, let's go look at the Dilophosaurus real quick. We have 2 Dilophosaurus still, so they haven't starved to death. Well, I'm assuming that the Triceratops were just hungry and now are full. And hopefully won't eat anything else. Righto, well, everybody, thank you for watching this episode of the Minecraft Dinosaur World. Tune in next time where we'll be making a new enclosure in this side quadrant. Get your brain on about what's going to be living here in the next part. Alrighty, take it easy and see you in the next one. Bye bye.